Good morning. This is the May 1st meeting of the Town of Barnstable Licensing Authority. My name is David Nunheimer. I'm the acting chairman of this meeting. With me is Larry Decker and Nancy Carlson-Lidman. We also have with us Dave Anthony, who's the Insurance and Asset Coordinator for the Town of Barnstable, and Interim Deputy Director of Asset Management and Licensing, Erin Logan, and Officer Christopher Kelsey from the Barnstable Police Department, who is our liaison officer. We're going to take some things out of order for scheduling reasons today. So the first matter will be an application to amend an annual all-alcohol license and change of hours by Simone's Pizza Burger. Morning, Mr. Blank.
Good morning. Thank you for having us back today. I'm here with Jefferson Palhares. Unfortunately, he was not able to be here the last time we were present with you. And he did want to review things and not argue with you, but at least review his situation briefly. Because from his perspective, he's doing everything he can to cooperate and assist with the town and what the town's needs and objectives are. And it's unfortunate that he's in a location where there's a stigma. And we're here to ask you to please put the stigma aside. Jefferson was really not involved when the bad reputation became apparent at the location he's at. He made an honest attempt to change his location this past year. However, it happened just when the interest rate started to soar, and ultimately he could not afford to purchase the new location that he was eyeballing. So if you could listen to Jefferson, he would like to address you briefly.
Good morning. Today my hours is 11 o'clock. I need to close the restaurant. This impacts because of my committee, and I have people at the church. I have the committee Brazilian, sometimes coming the restaurant 9:30, 10, 10:15 sometimes, and I need to quickly, you place the order now, or I need to put it take out. And I talked to Gary, if you can, I try to put it 1 more hour or midnight 30, because it's good for my business and the community. If you can, I understand. If cannot, I understand too. But this is good for me if you can put it midnight sometime. I don't know. Just try.
And we believe it's good for the community. We did meet with Officer Kelsey and Erin Logan, and it didn't go as well as we thought, but it is a community restaurant, if not a family restaurant, and we address that because the community does come in to watch sports. Often the sports, especially the soccer and the football, would go a little bit later at night. And the church community does come in. Jefferson tells me about 15 to 20 people after church. I guess they have it Friday and Saturday and Sundays evenings. And it's difficult for him because if they come in at 9:30, 10 o'clock, he's got to rush them the way his hours are now. And part of it is he would close the bar at his current closing time, but allow people to finish their meals. If you can see your way to extending his hours, maybe with certain conditions. We appreciate your consideration.
Not that it takes much, but I'm a little confused. Are you asking to extend the hours that he's open and the hours of his license on alcohol, or one or the other?
Well, right now, the hours What-
Supposed to close at 11,
11.
so yeah,
Right now, he closes at 11.
that's it. All right. Are you asking to extend 11 closing time with alcohol, or extend the 11 closing time without alcohol?
Either way,
Whatever you can. If you can stay the alcohol, it's good. If you cannot, I understand.
All right. Does anybody have any questions?
I think it's sort of putting the licensing authority to the test here. Back in June, actually back in September of 2022, just a few months ago, you came before us and we issued a one-day suspension for 1 year. If we go back on that now, we're establishing some principle for this 1 year. My suggestion is what was discussed at the last meeting was that the next time, this is going to be up in September of 2023, and if we wait until then so that this abeyance stays in force, then after that, then we can address your hours. In the meantime, you're putting us on the spot by us changing our rulings now. So that's my personal feeling, that we put you in abeyance for 1 year because there were some issues that occurred back in June of last year.
is it possible that you could modify the suspension and allow him to actually fulfill it by closing for the day without, so he serves his penalty? There really, since that June incident, hasn't been, that Jefferson knows of, another incident. You know, quite frankly, we did talk about that, and from Jefferson's perspective, the incident did not happen in the restaurant. And I know that the police officers and Officer Kelsey said that his officers said differently, but the actual altercation and the police arrived, everybody, whoever was involved, was in the parking lot of the car dealership across the street. And certainly Jefferson and his restaurant don't control the parking lot across the street. Again, Jefferson's put in cameras and security systems so that anytime the safety of the restaurant is in question, we certainly have offered and will provide all the video that we capture, which is basically the parking lot and the restaurant inside. And I think that should allay some of the fears that you might have. And again, if there wasn't the stigma attached from the former owners, I think that you would have a much easier decision, but everybody watching would understand that there may be reason to modify Jefferson's penalty
If I may,
under the circumstance. Yes.
what this does is it sets up a very difficult precedent for us, because what we do for you, we then have to do for every single member that comes before us. So every time we pass out some kind of suspension, whether or not you believe it's warranted, you received it. And that brings us to having to sit here and entertain every single other person who has a suspension and debate. I don't personally feel that this suspension was unwarranted, and I don't see where setting a precedent in this case does us any good.
And I just want to add that insofar as I'm concerned, I'm not, the prior history of the location has nothing to do with him. I understand that, and I think initially we welcomed him with open arms to a difficult situation, which unfortunately got more difficult. So, Officer Kelsey, do you have anything to add to this?
I do want to thank Attorney Blank and Jefferson, for coming in to speak with us. I will say this, Jefferson, in all of the interactions that we've had, has been extremely cooperative, polite, professional, and that's appreciated by the police department and should be noted to this board. That being said, I think there's some clarification on some things. To start from the beginning with the stigma of the old restaurant and reputation. This is one of the things that Lieutenant Murphy had brought up when they first came before this authority. And it wasn't so much of the stigma of the old owners and the old business. It was the fact that Jefferson himself was working there as a manager at the time. So that's where that nexus came. That's where that connection came. There has never, ever been any direct connection to any illegal activity involving Jefferson. I want to make that very clear. But he was there at that restaurant working in management, and that's where that connection came. As far as the violations since Jefferson has taken ownership, it's not just in that June being the last situation. June 10th, which Attorney Blank has brought up, the fight that he says didn't have anything to do with the restaurant, it was across the street. Well, on June 10th, myself, I went in there and they were serving after hours. That's something that I observed myself. There's no muddiness, there's no gray area. I went in, did a compliance check after closing, and there were still 30 people inside the restaurant, 15 people sitting at the bar, and they were still being served. These are the types of things that I have concerned with, because it's not about what happened in the past. It's what's happened while he has been the owner. I believe I read into the record about 4 or 5 other violations. Some of them were, and I'll put it as I did in our meeting, I'll call it administrative. It was the wrong signage, having the wrong information on their menus and on their uniforms, some building code violations. But that all falls into the fact that they have to follow the rules like everybody else. The 2 significant ones for me would be that fight that happened. And yes, the fight happened outside of the restaurant, but the sergeant who responded stated that it was related to the restaurant. I wasn't there personally. I'm going on what that sergeant told me. And then my experience with them serving after hours. The recommendation from the police department is that they are right now having a 1-day suspension and abeyance. Part of that is not just to serve the 1 day. Part of that is so that we can monitor them to make sure that they are still operating properly. So to have them serve a 1 day and say, all right, we're done with it, doesn't do anything to make sure that we still have the ability to monitor them and then make that 1 day fall into place if they're not doing the right thing. So that would be a concern for the police department. As far as adjusting the hours so that they could, say, stay open until midnight but stop serving alcohol at 11, I think that just sets up a very bad precedent, and we are going to be chasing all sorts of bars and restaurants all over town who are now going to want to be doing this. And unfortunately, they're not going to be able to police themselves properly to make sure that alcohol is off the bar at 11 as food is being served until midnight. There's going to be honest mistakes that will get that restaurant or that bar into trouble because of that. I think every manager, every owner at any establishment is going to be very cognizant of that, but they cannot be there 24 hours a day. They can't be there every day. And sometimes things slip. And I think that's one of those situations where it's got a great potential for things to slip. And then the last thing that I'm going to mention on this, and it goes back again to Lieutenant Murphy when he was here originally. When they first came before this authority, they talked about being a family restaurant. In our conversation the other day, Attorney Blank, probably appropriately so, sort of expanded that to a community restaurant. And that's more of an appropriate description. That being said, anytime that I have either gone to heard of, attended functions at any restaurant where they're staying open because they have a large or a significant portion of their clientele coming in at 9:15, 9:30, 10 o'clock. That's not a community or family restaurant, that's a bar. And when Simone's Pizza Burger first came before this authority, they made it very clear that they wanted to be a family restaurant. If they want to switch their operation and make a little bit more money, I will never, ever, ever take that away from any business who's trying to further what they can do and make some more money. But I think that they need to demonstrate throughout their suspension that they're able to do this without having any other issues. So that would be the recommendation of the police department.
Do you want to say anything?
You have anything else to say?
Couldn't hear you.
You have anything else that you want to add?
No, I promised I would not argue with you today, but would present our
Does
Jefferson's.
anybody from the public wish to speak to this application? Seeing none?
Jefferson, I would say personally, on one hand, I sympathize with you because if I was in your situation and you wanted to increase your business, I think opening up for another hour would be very helpful. However, I think that our hands are sort of locked from this position. So my suggestion is going to be is to wait until our meeting after September of '23, until your year will be up, and then we can address your situation again.
Thank you.
And that means it's going to be the October 16th, because that's the next meeting after that expires.
So why don't we agree that we will continue this matter till October 16th, make it through the summer unscathed, and rework it from there? Is that acceptable to you?
It's okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a very popular restaurant. I go by all the time. The parking is at a minimum because you're so busy, so keep it going.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, if I may just have a formal motion on that continuance.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, with regard to the request submitted by Simone's Pizza Burger, Inc., DBA Simone's Pizza Burger, to extend their hours of operation, I make a motion at this time to postpone this until the meeting of October 16th, 2023.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll see you in October, please. Hopefully not
Thank you.
before that.
Gary.
And the second matter is an annual Class II auto dealer license for J&J Auto, 381 Camp Street, for violations of the Town of Barnstable Code. The show cause hearing is being postponed to May 15th meeting. So I'll take a motion for that, Mr. Decker.
Being postponed to May 15th. Mr. Chairman, with regard to the annual Class Auto Dealer License for J&J Auto, 381 Camp Street, Hyannis, with regard to the violations of the Town of Barnstable Code, I make a motion this is moved to the meeting of May 15th.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. The next matter is a discussion with regard to a Class II auto dealer license, Cape Quality Cars, Inc., DBA Cape Quality Car Sales, 455 Yarmouth Road in Hyannis, regarding the hours of operations. Is anyone here from Cape Quality Cars? Could you state your name, please, and speak into the microphone?
Damian Murray.
I'm Taylor Gomes.
Mr. Murray, what's your relationship to Cape Quality Cars?
I'm the owner.
You're the owner?
Yep.
Okay. So I guess we'll just leave this to Officer Kelsey to lead us through.
Good morning. So the reason that we've asked Cape Quality Car Sales to come before the authority today is an attempt to understand why they have not been running the operation, as well as to find out what their future plans for the operation is. As you see in your agenda, for quite some time now, and we're going back into 2022, well into 2022, this business has been observed as not being run on a regular basis. Licensing authority or licensing department staff have observed this, as well as myself, on a regular basis. And then I've done several attempts, or I've had several attempts to do compliance checks, as well as just checking to see if the business is operating, which I have 14 logged attempts here, dating back to August of 2022, with the most recent being April of this year, April 26th. We've also made attempts to contact the owners at their other business in town, which is Cape Quality Collision in West Barnstable. We've had some success in having conversations there. We've had other times where it's not been successful. It's never been cooperative. The most recent attempt at Cape Quality Collision, I did speak with a gentleman who was an employee there who I do recognize as being present quite often, but has never offered to give his name, which I cannot compel him to do so. But the last conversation that we had, I was I was told to get the F off the property. You are trespassing. You can't be here. You have no right to be here. You're trespassing. Get the F off the property. Get the F off the property, to the point where I called for a second cruiser to come down. I will say Mr. Murray and Ms. Gomes were not there at that time. In other conversations that I've had with them, going back to January of this year, Mr. Murray was actually in the licensing department office paying his annual renewal. We had a conversation with him there about operating the business, and he told us that he absolutely knows he has to. There's good things coming. There's going to be some changes, and real soon you're going to see the business up and running. That was said in front of myself and Mrs. Logan. So basically, it just comes down to, we want them to run the business. I mean, every other car dealership out there has staff there every day, or most days, I will say. I mean, there can be something that happens if you're a sole proprietor. But they're selling cars from that location on a regular basis, and this is not what's happening with this location. It's been, like I said, several months. I have spoken with the state police officer who is in charge of Section 5, which is basically the group from the state police that works with the Registry of Motor Vehicles, and they are the ones who enforce the CMRs for car dealers in the state of Massachusetts, as well as being in charge of dealer plates, repair plates, and so on. He has advised me that he has also had a conversation with them in the past about operating the business. He said that they have been extremely cooperative with him, that they have assured him that they are running the business and that they are planning on continuing running the business. And that's really all that we ask, is that they continue to run the business. If they're not going to be there on a regular basis and they're not going to run the business, the police department would recommend a show cause hearing on their license.
So, Mr. Murray, Ms. Gomes,
Okay,
tell us the plans for the business.
The plans for the business is actually up and is running. What Mr. Kelsey is talking about, when I first opened this dealership, it was in the middle of COVID. I run a pretty good auto body shop. I saw the opportunity to open a dealership, and I took it. So I leased the place, and everything was crazy. It wasn't busy. It's my first time doing it. And, you know, I was running it through my auto body company as a DBA. And I admit there was times when we weren't there. There was times when we were there. Everything was crazy. But I got everything under control. I switched from the DBA to, like, you know, a corporation. You know, I got everything set up, which I explained to Mr. Kelsey the last time that I was here, that you know, everything is going through the process. I have to do it. You know, a lot of paperwork, everything takes time to actually get it, you know, own corporation and stuff, and get it going. And I did that. We have cars there. The place is been open. I'm not sure when you stopped by or who you talked to or what door you knocked at and said there's no one there, because that is not true. I don't know why you would say that, but we sold cars. There's record that's cars selling. I don't understand how can we not run a business, but we're making sales. That doesn't make any sense to me. But, and as far as my other place of business go, yes, most of the time I'm not there. And I really don't appreciate you stopping by, harassing my guys all the time and stuff. If there's a problem, you could give me a call and you can mail me a letter or something, but I don't feel appreciated with you going, to my place of business every other day. Said somebody called. You're taking pictures of my shop. You're taking pictures of the car. You're taking pictures of my employee. Like, it's not good for my business. Like, you're running my business into the ground. Like, people see cops there all the time. And whenever I do talk to you, you can't give me a reason like why you're here in my place of business looking for me. Why are we doing this? I'm really concerned. Like, I'm literally here today, and I would like for him to explain why is he been harassing me, because that's what you're doing. Every time I talk to you, I explain to you. If you talk to me about something, and I said, okay, yes, this is what's going on. At one point, we have an issue going on where I called the police and Mr. Kelsey got involved with a different separate issue. It was supposed to be a civil matter, and you start investigating it. And ever since, things be personal with my company and you. That now you're sitting here saying that my place hasn't been open.
Well, he's got an investigative duty as a police officer, so that's part of it, but I'll let Officer Kelsey address it for himself.
So there are several things that sort of mix into this. Yes, I have been out to the Cape Quality Collisions location on several occasions, sometimes to try to contact Mr. Murray or Miss Gomes to talk about Cape Quality car sales. Other times we've been out there because we are getting consistent reports that they are operating car sales from Cape Quality Collision, which they are not licensed to do. As recently as April 19th, 2023, I went out there to investigate a report that they had cars for sale in front of the store. When I got there, I did observe 2 vehicles with for sale markings on them, and I did take pictures of those vehicles. We've also had several neighborhood complaints of car carriers delivering cars to the business. I've also taken pictures of vehicles that are there that have markings from the car auction. So there have been several times that I have been there that I have taken pictures of the vehicles there to try to determine if those vehicles from the car auction are there for sale on that property, to discover whether those vehicles that have been reported as for sale with markings on them on that property are present at the time. I've even gone there and taken pictures of car carriers delivering cars to the property. One would believe that if you're having your vehicles brought to an auto body shop, it would be brought either by a single wrecker or you'd be driving it in yourself, not several cars coming on a car carrier. So that was the concern on some of the neighbors, and that was some of the investigation. As far as the business being open for operation on a regular basis, I can tell you that going back to August 31 of 2022, I attempted to do an ordinance check. There was nobody there. This was at 2:32 in the afternoon. On September 8th of 2022, let's see, this was 9:30 in the morning, 9:39, which I will tell you now that their markings on their door for business operation was 10 o'clock. Recently, I've gone there. They've actually taken the business hours off of the door, which is also a violation of their license. But business is not open at this time. On, let's see, what date is this? September 16th, 2022. We were supposed to have a meeting, and it was canceled. On September 20th, 2022, I was able to do an inspection there. That was after the canceled meeting from the previous call. That was also, I think we did speak about that in the past. That's when they were refusing to do the inspection. And then through some conversations with, I think, some of their, some people that were guiding them, they decided that they were going to do it. On September 26th of 2022, and this was at 9:56, no one at the dealership. On February 17th, 2023, again, unable to check as business was closed. On February 23, 2023, at 10:15, attempted to do a compliance check, dealership not open for business.
What time was that?
10:23. At 10:52 on February 24th, 2023, attempted to do a compliance check, dealership not open for business. Neighboring businesses states that Cape Quality Car Sales has not been open for months, states that he did see a female go into the building a few weeks ago. She was in and out. March 29th of 2023 at 2:44 in the afternoon, went to Cape Quality Auto Sales, business not open for operation, doors locked, and no employees on the property. On April 3rd, 2023 at 2:01, visited the business. It is not open. I have not observed customers or employees at the property since before the first of the year. There have been several attempts to contact employees at this business location. April 19th, 2023 at 12:42, business not open for operation, no employees to speak to. April 21st, 2023, attempted to serve notice of this meeting. This is also when the last time that I had gone to the auto body shop as well to try to serve notice to them for this meeting. After the interaction with the staff at the auto body shop, it was just to determine that we would put a copy of this notice into the mail slot, as having a further interaction like that was not warranted for something like this. Just to speak to the comment of could give a call or an email, we also have sent registered letters for these types of communications. We have sent emails for these types of communications. We've attempted to make phone calls in the past for these types of communications. On April 26, 2023 at 10:55, no one on scene, violation observed, and that was the fact that the hours of business have been removed from the doorway, which they previously had been there, and there are photographs available for each one of these visits.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Mr. Murray?
Yes,
Mr. Murray, could I just ask two quick questions?
yeah.
How many cars do you have on your Cape Quality Car Sales lot at the moment?
I'm not sure. I want to say 7 or 8.
Okay. And how many cars does your license say that you're allowed to have on that lot?
I can have up to 18.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
How many employees do you have at that location?
At that location, it's just me and her. That's it. The auto body shop is different. However, I did hear he mentioned that about the car carriers and the car that's being at the shop for sale. And it's pretty confusing because we have 2 different locations, and we're having issue with both location, and we're like mixing them both together. But just to give you guys like a quick update on what's going on, like when I bought the cars at the auction, like sometimes they need repair, I have to repair them at my repair shop and then bring them to my dealership. If there's a car at the dealership and I have a sticker on it and everything, and I got to bring it to the shop to do some repair, that's the car that they're mentioning is for sale. Which I also do work for other dealerships as well. I do work for Mitsubishi. I do work for Kia.
Cape
I
Cod
do work
Cars.
for Cape Cod Cars. There's always cars at the property that looks like it's for sale, but it's for dealership because we're an auto body repair shop. That's what we do. So I can't control how that looks unless you guys are telling me that don't do any dealership. I'm not sure how do I fix that issue.
Well, I think it's pretty straightforward. If you're going to sell a car, you sell it at this location on Yarmouth Road.
That's what I do.
There's no vehicles
Hold
being
on, let me
sold
finish.
at-
If you're going to fix a car, You're fixing it at the other location in West Barnstable. The third thing is that because of the confusion, which you can understand is natural, because you do fix cars for sale for other dealerships, when Officer Kelsey or someone on his behalf inquires about what's going on with cars on the lot, you give him the information that he needs to verify that.
I always do.
Well, we got two different tales, but that's okay. The fourth thing is you have to put your hours of your business on Yarmouth Road on the door so people know when an employee for the dealership will be there at the time, okay?
Yep.
Any other questions or discussion?
I guess you've heard all of the information that Officer Kelsey had to provide, and I think you would agree it's numerous, whether you agree to it or not. I guess my question is, what are you going to do going forward? Because the next time you're in here, you're going to be, unfortunately, have some issues.
I mean, I'm not doubting it in my mind that I'm gonna be in here again because I don't know what's the problem with running these business. Like, I work hard to do what I'm doing right now, and I'm having a lot of problems with what I'm doing by just working. Like, it's hard to explain. I know you guys don't understand, but not being here right now, I'm here somewhere else dealing with other issues about running these businesses. Like, I'm going to town meeting, I'm in court all the time, I'm doing a lot of stuff. Like, it's almost like I can't even run my business by doing all this stuff for no reason whatsoever. Like, and I don't know what to do. If you guys can tell me what to do, then I'll happily do it, which I said to Miss Kelsey right here. I'm sorry, Mr. Kelsey, explain to me, like, what you think that I need to do, because I'm doing what I think I should be doing. I don't know what else to do.
I can't run your business.
Exactly, I
So
understand that.
I understand that you may have some other mentors that can help you with the difficulty of juggling two businesses and the ancillary problems that come from running two businesses. That's not our job.
And-
Our job is to make sure that you're running the two businesses compliant with the rules and regulations that are imposed. We don't, whether we like it or not, that's the object.
Okay,
So you have to, that's what you have to do for your business, is run the two businesses as two separate buckets. And when Officer Kelsey or anyone on his behalf approaches you about information, I just suggest that you give it to him so that it's easy.
But that's what I said, I always do. I never hold
Well,
any
he's made
information.
phone calls to you and no one returns his phone calls. That's
Not to me.
number one.
I would like to know what number he have on file that he's calling for me. That's not to me. I don't avoid these situations. I do.
Well-
And also, it seems like Mr. Kelsey is saying, like, we're not at the place for months. This letter that we got to show up here was brought there like a few days before this, and I got it. If I wasn't at the place or no one is going there, as Mr. Kelsey said, we would never be here right now because we're never at that location.
The point is that you have to run the business with normal business hours, okay? And those hours have to be posted on the doorway.
Which they always do. They just come off recently because the lock was broken and there was a guy doing some work on the door and they removed some stuff. But again, this is the stuff that I have to deal with.
Believe, I'm self-employed, so I understand what you have to deal with, okay? Either you're overextended or you need more help.
I don't need more help. Everything is fine. It's just far as the issue that I'm having that I don't know how to stop it. If I brought the day when Officer Kelsey went to the shop that he said somebody called about a car for sale, one of my employee went to the dealership. I have him go over there to pick a car up to brought it back to the shop to do some repair. And by the time he got back to the shop, Mr. Kelsey is there. And he informed me that he was there taking pictures and saying someone called about the car for sale. And he explained to him that I just brought the car back over, and if you look at the car, it has the shop repair plate on it. I literally just brought it back. I haven't been inside yet. This car is here for repair. You're not explaining these stuff to these guys and explain what's going on. And my employee did inform me that he also informed Mr. Kelsey, hey, you should take pictures of the back of the car as well so you can see the repair plate on it, because I only use the repair plate for when I'm doing repair on cars. I try to keep it separate as much as I can. And he informed me that he explained to you, you should take a picture of the back of the car so you can see the repair plate on it that it was just brought over.
I'm not going to tell him how to do his job, but Officer Kelsey?
I'll start with that. He absolutely did ask that I take a picture of the back of the car because it had a repair plate on it, which I did. It did have a repair plate on it. The fact that you only use the repair plates for vehicles that you're repairing, I would beg to differ on that, because one of the most recent times I was there were little kids in the back of the car, one of the cars with a repair plate on it.
It was a dealer plate. That was my.
I mean,
car.
sorry, dealer plate.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Dealer.
my bad. As far as going there, and if I try to have a conversation with them, usually the conversation, and this is what happened last time. Oh no, you're here again? Why are you here again? We didn't do anything wrong. As I tried to explain what was going on, it turned into, get out of here. And then the conversation was a little more, less friendly.
Who said get out of here?
The gentleman who's always there with you, who refuses to give me his name.
Okay, so that's one of my employee. Whatever my employee do, like whatever conversation you guys have, that's not on me.
Correct, and I explained that from the beginning. And then other times when you have been there and Ms. Gomes has been there, they've also recorded the conversations to the point where I've actually explained to them, I am more than happy to speak to you while you're recording me. Don't have an issue with that, but you guys need to stop talking over each other and over me so that I can actually have the conversation with you. That has happened one time where it got a little bit, I won't call it heated, but the voices were raised to the point where I said, I can explain to you what's going on, you can record me if you want, or I'm leaving, but if you need to let me talk. And then another time, actually I think twice, as soon as I walk on the property, the phone comes out, oops, and they start recording. I don't care about them recording. I don't have anything to hide. I'm there to investigate. I understand why they could be upset that the police are at their property, and I can understand how it might look. But if we get complaints, we have to follow up on those complaints. If we get there and the conversation is, hey, this is a complaint I got, can you explain to me what's going on? Which actually did happen one time, probably early on in this process. Every other time that I've gone there, it's been confrontational and uncooperative, and I think that he's frustrated, they're frustrated, because we're there on a regular basis. We've also been there for other calls where patrol has had to respond out there for different issues that have nothing to do with the licensing authority. So yeah, there's been police activity out there. I'm not going to take that away.
Like a lot. And for no reason.
Well, there have been noise complaints. There have been high rates of speed complaints.
Daily.
There have been peeling out complaints. The complaints have all been, I won't say related to the business, because some of them have been confirmed, some of them haven't, but the business has been mentioned during the complaint. That's why a lot of these patrol calls have been out there.
And keep it in mind, where these burnout or whatever is happening is the parking lot over. It's the next
liquor store
business
parking
over.
lot.
But everything happened at that side of town, it's coming from our place of business. It's always been
What's
like
the
that.
business next to you?
It's a liquor
a
store.
liquor store?
It's a plaza.
It's
So
a little
there's a liquor
plaza,
store. There's
yeah.
there's a few business next door.
There's a lot of, a lot of motorcycles, a lot of hot rods.
Where were you,
the
in
area.
149, at the end of 149?
We're in the corner, 149 and 6A, yeah.
I know.
I just asked you a minute ago how many employees you had, and you said just you two.
At the
at
shop,
the
at the
dealership.
dealership, I mean, yeah.
But you're sending another employee over to this business with a vehicle, right?
Because he
auto
works
body
for my
shop,
auto
yeah.
body shop.
So you went to go pick up a vehicle.
All right, so how many it's the two of you at the car dealership.
Yeah,
How many employees do you have at the auto body shop?
like 4.
Okay.
So to go back to, I think one of the most basic questions at hand here is, what do they need to do so that the licensing department, so that the police department, so that the state police are satisfied? Basically, just run your business on a regular basis within the hours of operation. Run your business within the number of vehicles you're supposed to have, which that has never been an issue. and be consistent. Have your book consistent when someone comes to check it, and make sure that you're available for compliance checks, which are required by this license and also by the CMRs of the state of Massachusetts. I mean, those are the very basics of what they need to do.
Okay, quick question. How many times a year that inspection happen?
That inspection can happen as many times as any licensing agent or agent of the state of Massachusetts wants it to happen.
So you can just do an inspection on me like every month if you feel like it, or every day a month, or I'm not sure what that means.
That means that anytime an agent of this licensing authority or the state of Massachusetts wants to do an inspection on any licensed Class 1 or Class 2 dealer, they have the ability to do that.
So if you guys do an inspection on me today, somebody else, you can come and do one tomorrow again?
Yes.
I just want to know. And just to clear up, because you're making it sound like we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, but I did know you come and do an inspection. Did we pass that inspection?
You had two minor things that needed to be addressed, but hold on.
Okay.
You had two minor things that needed to be addressed, and I told you those aren't a big deal. We can talk about that next time I come, but you're good to go. Everything else was in order.
So we passed the inspection?
You passed that inspection.
Okay. So that means I'm doing the right stuff because you come and you pass the inspection.
No, actually, that means that you passed that inspection on that day. You're not doing the right thing because you're not operating your business on a consistent, regular basis. It all has to come together. It's not just one thing at a time.
All right.
It has to be consistent and encompassing.
So what would you like me to do moving forward from today?
I think you have to post the hours that
I
you're
do.
going.
The hours is always
You
posted.
got to let me finish first before you do that. Make sure the hours are posted. Make sure there's an employee there during the hours. Make sure the cars that are for sale are at Cape Quality on Yarmouth Road and not at the other location. And maintain the books and records that are required under the regulations. And I think it goes without saying that when there is an inspection or an inquiry from either the state police or the Barnstable Police, Officer Kelsey, or any other, you, and frankly your employee, respond appropriately to the inquiry. I don't think they're trying to target you as you're trying to imply. I think they're just trying to confirm whether or not these things are operating according to the regulations. So if you do those things, I think your life is going to be immeasurably easier because it's tough enough being a sole proprietor operating two businesses. Right?
Okay. I mean, I understand, like, I get it that you guys probably not going to hear me. I'm because what you're saying is what I keep repeating. Like, the stuff that you're saying is what I'm doing. I'm already doing these things. The cars that goes to the shop is for repair. So I can't say I can't have any cars at my auto body shop because they're for Cape Quality car sales. I can't sit here and say that to you guys because I would be lying.
I understand that two things happen in your car repair business. One, you have to list that car repair business at Cape Quality Sales as a repair facility. Two, you do independent work outside of that. I think every time Officer Kelsey is making an inquiry when a car looks like it's for sale at your location of the auto body dealership or facility, that you simply give him the information to indicate where it's from. It's a normal inquiry. You do not have a license to sell vehicles at that location. When someone drives by and sees vehicles that look like they're for sale, that's what they're going to think. So it's a simple, no, that's here from Mitsubishi, that's here from Hyundai. It's that simple. So just, I understand you're spread thin, and everybody wants to see you make it work. I think what I've said to you is pretty simplistic, and I think what Officer Kelsey has requested from you is very simplistic.
But, sir, everything that you just said to me, that's what I'm doing. He never show up and I'm be like, get out of here, or I can't answer you or whatever. Every time he comes around, it's always a good conversation. I never I never have a problem with what he's doing.
All right, I'm not going to get into who's right or who's wrong. We've heard enough about
Okay.
him showing up at 455 Yarmouth Road and nobody being there, okay? That's the problem.
Okay.
So if that's what, if you say you're doing what I'm telling you to do, then good, keep it going, and Officer Kelsey will let us know that you are or are not. So that's my suggestion at the moment. Does anybody else have any thoughts? I'm not going to hold you out for a show cause hearing at this point, and that would be my recommendation. And I urge you to comply with the issues to avoid a show cause hearing, because that's not going to be a lot of fun.
I mean, I get it. And like I said, I have no issue. Like, I understand I'm probably going to be back here because I'm getting personally harassed. This is not just what's happening here now. I deal with this on a regular, every day. For whatever reason I'm going through this, I don't know. I have seen guys doing so much ridiculous stuff, and they're not here. They're not going through what I'm going through. And I'm here all the time. But it's fine.
Listen,
I get it.
well, you can, I'm not going to get into you whether someone's picking on you, but we have a lot of auto dealerships that come through here on a routine basis, so it's not just you, all right? Thank you very much.
Chair, can I just offer, I'm happy to have a meeting if you and Taylor want to come in. We can go over the rules and regs together, and perhaps we can come up with some suggestions that might help mitigate some of the confusion that does happen. That's what we're here for.
I mean,
Okay.
I would appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good luck, thank you.
So just so we're clear, so what do I do from here? What exactly you said you want me to do? So I just hear it so I can put it to work? I just want to hear it one more time.
I want you to post the hours of your operation on Yarmouth Road.
Okay?
I want you to have only cars for sale at Yarmouth Road, right?
Okay?
And then run the two businesses separately. I want you to respond politely and swiftly to any inquiries from the police department, okay?
Okay.
I think if you let Ms. Gomes do most of that, it'll all work out very well.
Could I add that the business does need to be in operation on a regular basis?
Yeah, I mean, it's
with
not
an employee there.
When I say put the hours on the door, it means that somebody's there during those hours,
Okay.
all right? That's a minimum requirement, and that's a state requirement, so. And you just have to adjust the hours to deal with, when you have people there.
Okay. And if you don't mind, I got one question for you while we're all here. You ever show up to any other place of business and I give you attitude or like I'm not cooperating or like I have issue with you being at the property?
I'm not understanding the question.
I mean, basically how it seems like, whenever you guys come out to investigate, there's a problem. I just want to know, like, anytime you ever come to, like, any of my business or anything, and I'm there, like, I give you attitude, like, I don't want you around or get out of here and just attitude like you're not supposed to be here.
I would say 50% of the time, he's extremely cooperative, and there's usually a debate that happens, but it's a friendly debate, a professional debate. There, other 50% of the time is when the voices get raised. Ms. Gomes, Mr. Murray, and then the other gentleman usually will start talking over each other to talk over me. Video cameras or videos come out with the phone. That the scenario will go that way.
So let's just have calm, cool, and collected conversations when and if Officer Kelsey appears at your place, and we'll go from there, okay?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
You guys have a good day.
You too. Good luck. All right, the next matter is, do I have to go back here? You're taking off? Okay. The next application is a special one-day entertainment license. The application was filed by Flip Circus, 700 Vasquez Lane, Donna, Texas, to hold the Flip Circus at the Cape Cod Mall parking lot, 180 Falmouth Road, Hyannis, from May 9 to May 15, 7:30 nightly, ending at 11 p.m. It includes amplified and live performing arts. Do I have somebody from the circus here?
Hello, my name is Shirley Larible. I'm the GM at Flip Circus.
Welcome.
Thank
So
you.
you want to extend the time you're going to be here on lovely Cape Cod?
Yes, it's really lovely. It's amazing, and we've been really happy to be here. The circus is already here. We have a show Monday to Friday at 7:30, and then 3 shows on Saturday and Sunday. That's at 1, 4, and 7.
Mr.
So-
Decker, you want to apply now?
The parking lot was packed yesterday, that's for sure.
Yeah, we had very good business. We have a very good response. It's one thing that I love about circus is that it really is family fun. I'm 8th-generation circus, so my family dates back posters going back 8 generations, and I see grandparents with their grandchildren come in, and there's something that is entertaining for the whole family. We have some, I don't know, it's something special. It's this live entertainment, and I think it gives an opportunity for the whole family to come around, and it's actually healthy entertainment.
All right, so I will take a motion. Just as a note, you have EMS and fire present
Yes.
all the time?
Yes, we do, and we passed all our inspections and all our permits. We have everything in place.
And police details are in place?
Yes. But as you can see, it's a very quiet, there's no alcohol. It's very different from a carnival that has like rides and stuff. So there's usually no incidents. I don't want to say never because the word never, well, shouldn't be used, but there really isn't much. It's a live show. People come in for that show, maybe a half an hour or so prior, and then it's 2 hours, and everyone's gone by 9:30 or 9
How much are
o'clock.
the tickets?
They vary in price depending on the sections. So it's $55 on the side for adults, $65 in the center, and $75 in preferred, and kids pay $30 from 2 to 10 in any section.
Very good. I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, with regard to the application by Flip Circus of 700 Vasquez Lane, Donna, Texas, to hold Flip Circus at the Cape Cod Mall parking lot located at 180 Falmouth Road, Hyannis, from May 9th, 2023 to May 15th, 2023, beginning at 7:30 nightly and ending at 11 p.m. And the event also includes amplified live performing arts, and subject to the application that all fire and police and site plan has been completed, I make a motion to accept.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Have
Thank
fun
you.
flipping. All right, the next matter is an application by Alana Buddha of the Caribbean Lounge, 662 Main Street, Hyannis, to hold Tekwa Yourself, Cape Cod, a live performing arts show at the Barnstable Performing Arts Center at 744 West Main Street, Hyannis, on May 27 from 6 to 10 p.m.
Hi, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
So tell us about, I don't know why people pick these names because I can't pronounce them.
So the name of the show is Take Away Yourself. It's more of women empowerment, and it's a theater. It's like a comedy show with theater.
Okay.
Yes. So we're looking to do from 6 to have the space available from 6 to 10. At 6 a.m. it will be more like meet, greet, seating, and then 7 through 9 is a show, and then till 10 is just like to meet, greet the comedians, and take pictures and stuff like that. I would also like the permission to do. I'm the owner of the Caribbean Lounge, so we're looking to do refreshments and snacks and lunches and our dinner, and that's basically it. No alcohol will be involved. It's just for the entertainment, and it's more of a cultural thing from Jamaica.
Okay.
Your snacks and dinners and all that, that's not at the Performing Arts Center.
So we'll be preparing it at the Caribbean Lounge and taking it to Barnstable High School.
Okay.
Okay, so there's going to be dinner served at the Barnstable High School?
It's more like prepackaged food. prepackaged lunch
So people
dinners.
buy it there?
Yes, during the
separate-
break of the show or afterwards to take home. I was here the other day for the vendor event as well, so I have expertise in terms of doing vendor event, knowing how to keep my food hot, what should be cold. And at the Barnstable High School, they do have a small cafeteria area close to the Performing Arts auditorium that they have refrigerator there, and they also have the counters and everything, and hand washing sink and all that.
And you'll have someone from your facility serving?
Yes, yes.
Is anyone from the public here to speak to this application? Seeing none?
Mr. Chairman, with regard to the application filed by Alana Boda of the Caribbean Lounge, 662 Main Street, Hyannis, to hold a Tekwe Yourself Cape Cod, a live performing arts show at the Barnstable Performing Arts Center at 744 West Main Street, Hyannis, on May 27th, 23, from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. I make a motion to accept.
I second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. The next matter is an application by the 99 Restaurants of Boston LLC, doing business as 99 Restaurant and Pub, 1600 Falmouth Road, Hyannis, for a change of beneficial interest, for a change of directors and officers.
Good morning.
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 Elizabeth Pisano from Upton, Connell, and Devlin on behalf of the applicant. This is just a change of officers. There's no changes to the operations. The manager of record is staying the same. It's just a statewide change at every location that they're just, some LLC managers are leaving and adding some new ones. That's it.
And we have a change of those officers?
Yes.
We do, yes.
Mr. Chairman, with regard to the application filed by the 99 Restaurants of Boston LLC, DBA 99 Restaurant and Pub, 1600 Falmouth Road, Hyannis, for a change of beneficial interest, which is done through the Alcohol and Beverage Control Commission for a change of officers and directors, I make a motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We have an application by Starbucks Corporation, DBA Starbucks Coffee, 451 Iano Road, Hyannis, for a new common victual license with 30 indoor seats and 2 patio seats, open daily from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m., daily non-live entertainment for recorded music below conversation level. Hi.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. My name's Daniel Brennan. I handle permits and licenses for Starbucks. Our manager, Rachel Ferreira, she couldn't make it. She's working over at the Mashpee store today. But as you said, new Starbucks coming into town, hoping to open May 19th, I believe, if everything goes well. 30 seats inside, 2 exterior seats, just over 2,000 square feet. The hope was originally to have it be a drive-through, and I believe that was shot down by the town. But there may be hopes of one day bringing back the proposal. But for now, we're just opening as a regular cafe here.
Where's 451 Iano Road? Oh, okay. Good.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So it's in addition to the Starbucks at the
Yeah,
Trader
the Christmas
Joe's?
tree. Yeah,
Okay.
Now, you only have 2 outdoor patio
I know.
seats, so you're going to have a lot of people fighting, aren't you?
yeah, I know.
Yeah, maybe you need a police detail. That caffeine can do it. Anybody have any questions? No? Anybody from the public wish to speak to this? Yes, ma'am. Why don't you step aside, sir, and this young lady's going to come and speak to us.
Good morning.
Morning.
I ask that you,
Would you tell us your name first, please?
yeah, I'm Felicia Penn from Hyannis, Mass.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I respectfully ask that this request for a non-live entertainment license be tabled until the issue of the side drive-through in this location be resolved and that it is removed. I did send an email on April 26th, and I did include attached to that email, I highlighted the history of this Building B in this location, and I also attached a memo that I had sent to the planning board on August 25th, 2021, and it highlights the planning board's resistance to not have what was originally on the plans listed as a Dunkin' Donuts for this location, and it was changed to a Starbucks. And they asked that anything that occupied Building B, which this location is, not intensify the traffic in this location. I realize that these issues of traffic intensification are not your purview. However, there's a history of this building where the town and the planning board were not made aware of who the tenants would be, and the building was built before the tenants were delivered, okay, or identified. The attorney for the applicant who built the building indicated that whatever was going to go in the building, as you can see on page 2 of the memo, the last 2 bullet points, if it's a by right tenant, which a restaurant usage is here, but not a drive-through. If a tenant for Building B is by right, then just a letter of the director from Planning and Development would be sufficient to allow for that usage. But if the tenant requires special permitting, which a drive-through would, they will come back to the planning board. Now you heard that they don't plan to use the drive-through because town council voted it down. But the drive-through remains built on the side of the building. And I'm sorry to say that I don't think that the drive-through is going to stay built on the side of the building without coming back for a special permit sometime to say, hey, we're already in business and now we want the drive-through. Drive-throughs for anything but a bank are not allowed on this road. The applicant built Building A, which is now a Walgreens, and asked for a 24/7 drive-through and had to get a special permit from the planning board for that. And there was big discussion. And the reason drive-throughs aren't allowed on this road is because they intensify traffic. And we all know this is the most congested road in Hyannis. And the planning board, in its brilliance, when it rewrote the zoning, and that zoning still exists, in the new zoning that was passed, asked that it not, any usage here not intensify. Now, this was redevelopment, and so a traffic study was done to say how much traffic those 2 buildings, the pre-existing buildings, contributed before, and what was going to happen now with a drive-through. Town council said no to the second drive-through, and there was big discussion about the first drive-through, to be honest with you. So I'm just asking you to please table it until the applicant removes the drive-through from the building. I'm not saying a Starbucks as a restaurant can't go in there. I don't think it should because it's going to intensify traffic, but that's planning board and that's town business. And I object to it because I don't think we need a third Starbucks because there's one in Target too. And there's one in wherever Christmas tree shops. And this is number 3. It's within a half mile of each other. It's crazy. I don't even drink coffee, so I don't really care about a Starbucks, to be honest with you. But I just think that there's a history of Building B. Oh, you don't know what the tenant next to it's going to be. You don't know anything about it. And to say, yeah, okay, you can do this and leave that drive-through there, it's just cart before the horse. And so I'm just asking you politely to table it until the drive-through can be resolved, and then it can come back for its own thing. It's just got lots of baggage, is what I'm saying.
Am I correct that the occupancy was permitted without the drive-through already?
By the building commissioner.
Correct.
I'm not sure he knows about the drive-through and the whole
No,
history behind it. I don't know.
My understanding is that, go ahead, Ms. Logan.
Thank you, Chair. I have been in contact with Director Jenkins of Planning and Development, and she is confirmed that the use is approved without the drive-through. Further, I have seen the building permits, and both the site plan review coordinator, Maggie Flynn, and the building commissioner, Brian Florence, have comments on that permit that clearly state this permit is without a drive-through. So I do think there are many regulatory divisions that are aware that this is how it's going to continue. And I just wanted to clarify for the record that a daily non-live entertainment is just the background music that plays at the restaurant itself. It's not going to be bringing in, there will be no bands. This is not a live entertainment license.
Oh, I'm fully aware of that. The problem is that the building was built with a drive-through, knowing full well that a drive-through was not permitted, okay? Zoning doesn't allow drive-throughs there for restaurants, period. It was built anyway with a drive-through. Nobody from the town evidently told the person who built the building to remove the drive-through. It needs to be removed. So never, ever, ever in the future, it's stupid to have it sitting out on the side of a building, and 2 years from now, somebody's going to come and say, well, I got the drive-through, we want to use it. It's COVID. People don't want to come into my restaurant, blah, blah, blah.
No.
You know, we need to remove the drive-through to show some respect for the zoning in the area, and then they can have however many, whatever they want for seating in there at any time. It's just wrong.
Well,
It's just a small time. You could remove that drive-through in 3 days, and they could still be open in time, but they need to remove the drive-through.
I would agree with what you're saying, except that our situation today is to approve Starbucks just for what they're asking for.
I
There's
understand
nothing
that.
Without the drive-through.
That's why I was asking you to table this, so that then you can bring it up with no baggage.
No, but you're asking us to
To tear down part of a building.
do a building compliance issue, and that's not our
It's not ours.
scope.
So everybody's approving it with the drive-through there, even though they say there should be no drive-through. It
I'm
makes
not
no
approving it.
sense.
I'm particularly not approving it with a drive-through. There's not,
I know that's not your purview. I get that.
yeah, and our, like the building permit, our license will say it does not apply to a drive-through. So that if there is a drive-through at any point in time, it would violate this license as well as the building license.
So in the future, anybody can build a building with anything they want in this town, whether it complies to zoning or not. They don't have to use it. They might know it's illegal, et cetera. They'll get every permit they want from the building inspector, they'll get it from the building commissioner, and they'll get whatever entertainment licenses they need, and it's okay to do. And then a year or two later, they'll come back and justify the structure they built.
I understand the problem.
I know that's not your purview.
No,
That's
but
why I'm asking you to table it.
I understand the problem and the issue, but I guess with respect to something you said earlier, drive-throughs are permitted for a bank. So it could have very well have been a bank put in that situation. Well, I know you don't agree with that, but in any event. All right, does anybody else want to speak to this at this point? Mr. Bornstein?
I just want to say one more thing. The applicant's attorney indicated that they were looking to put benign uses in Building B and that they would not intensify traffic. This is anything but a benign use. That's all I'm going to say. It's on the record. You could see the planning board videos. I don't make this stuff up. I don't lie.
No, I know.
It's just not right.
It's not about your reputation. I understand that well. But we don't approve the use. We don't approve the building. We're like the Winter Warlock. We only have certain powers.
Well, they could certainly serve coffee without entertainment, without music in the back. How long are you in a Starbucks? I don't know.
I don't think it's
15
going to
minutes?
change the business really all that much, but in any event. All right,
Can I address some of the concerns?
let's have Mr. Bornstein. He raised his hand. All right.
I just wanted to mention that, we do not have a pickup window at that bump out. I know it's not approved for a drive-through. We're not going to be a drive-through. There's not a pickup window. There's not drive-through signage. I know it was set up for a drive-through, but that's not our intent at this point, and nobody could drive through and order a coffee at this point. And if they were to, we'd have to go through the full approval process, obviously, with the planning board. And
Could I just ask, please, do you have any plans in the future to revisit this?
possibly, that's not my decision. I don't know. I wasn't part of the original planning board meetings, and I'm not sure exactly how that all went, but it sounds like there was some serious opposition. The board turned it down, so I know that right now it's not an option for us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Anybody else wants to speak to this?
Good morning, Stu Bornstein. Originally, I'm the developer of the building, and we built that building with flexibility, whether we try to get a bank or whatever, and we ended up happily having Starbucks take it. We did like a drive-through, and we didn't get approved for it. Structurally, the building is, when it was constructed, is built. It's a 2.5-foot bump out U. It's not a big deal, but it was very expensive. If we ever had a bank or something that wanted to drive to, we'd have to rip half the building apart. And this Starbucks, the original plans, which they were looking for a Starbucks, had the whole thing for drive-through. The whole inside's been redesigned for no drive-through. There's no intention to have a drive-through. There's no signs outside for a drive-through. It's just a straight store to pick up coffee. And that's all it is. Everything that is there resenting a drive-through has been completely boxed in and sealed. I mean, if you go by there, you'll see there's no way even at this stage to have a drive-through. The whole store is redesigned for no drive-through. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, with regard to Starbucks Corporation, DBA Starbucks Coffee, 451 I&O Road, Hyannis, for a new common victor license with 30 indoor seats and 2 patio seats, open daily from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m., daily non-live entertainment for recorded music below conversation level. I make a motion subject to the approval of no drive-through window service. I make a motion to accept.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, no drive-through.
Thank you.
All right. Next matter is a new common victualler and daily non-live entertainment license by El Mariachi Loco, DBA El Mariachi Loco, 569 Main Street, Units 6 and 7 in Hyannis, for a new common victual license with 16 seats in Unit 6, 16 seats in Unit 7, and 30 outdoor patio seats. Daily non-live entertainment for 2 TVs. Proposed hours of operation are 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. It's in here. Hello.
Hello.
And your name is?
My name is Karina.
Hello, Karina.
Hello.
So,
Yeah, so what we are trying to do is to bring a little bit more life to that Hyannis Oaks courtyard. We wanted to add some seating. We have already installed lighting. We will be serving Mexican food. We're right next door, we're in the same plaza right now currently. So just kind of expanding a little bit to get more seating and more life to that courtyard. There will be music, but the music and the live TVs will be inside. The music will be at, speaking level, so unless you are inside, you won't hear nor see anything. I do know that there was a letter sent out for concerns.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I don't have the letter with me, but I have it here. I can.
about parking and the
Yeah,
use
parking and all that.
use of the back
The use
driveway.
of the back parking lot. So I guess I can start with, it says here, the overcrowded parking lot and added food truck service last year. We didn't have a food truck last year. I mean, we have a food truck. Unfortunately, because of staffing, we have not been able to use the food truck. So there is no food truck. I think we were able to use it last year for 1 week. And then the person that we had left us. So fortunately, no food truck is there. We always ask for the food truck permits. Fingers crossed, every year we get to get it out. But if we do get it out, the food truck will be loaded behind Unit 6 or Unit 7. We'll be loaded up in the morning, it'll be out all day, it'll be back at night to unload, clean, all that good stuff, and it'll be taken away. It is not going to be parked in the back parking lot. That parking is only for the Hyannis Oaks complex. The apartments next door do take up some of the parking, but we don't have any issues. I feel like there's plenty of space. I did send out some pictures. Not sure if, hopefully you guys received them. I took those pictures about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There's plenty of space for the complex and for us. I do know that there is another food truck there. That is not my food truck. That is Perry Lima's food truck. Mine is not parked there. You will never see it. Trash pickups, they'll be the same as they have always been, same days, same times. More frequent, they do get more frequent in the, during the summer, 2 times a week for us. I don't know the schedules for the guys next door, but for us, 2 times a week, keep it nice and clean back there. I did send out also pictures of the other dumpsters that were set that were leaning up against a fence, not mine. Again, apparently Lima's. I'm not sure about what noises we are causing. The signs that say that the parking is for Hyannis Oaks was not put up by us. We have been there about 10 years now, and I believe those signs have been there since we moved in. And like I said, they've been there for 10 years. The noises, we don't have any alcohol. It's just family, mostly takeout in the front right now. Mostly takeout, outdoor seating. Of course, in the winter, no one sits down and it's takeout. The same will go for the front, the bigger patios, lots more seats, but it'd be, like I said, we want to bring life to that courtyard. The noises, like I said, music, indoor, TVs, only 2 TVs, indoor. The tables and the chairs, we will not be taking them in or out. I mean, they'll, just like every other business, they're going to stay outside. I don't know what else we can do about that one. Extending the, so it does say here, extending the hours till 12. I decided to change them to 10. We'll keep it 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. I just wanted to use up as much time as I could because I learned from the first year that we were open. We were busy and we stayed open a little bit later than our license had permitted, and the cops came by and shut us down. So I learned from that, and I said, just in case I'm going to extend it a little bit more, of course I'm not going to be there till 12 a.m. We work there 15 hours. We're the owners and the employees as well, so we're there about 15, 16 hours a day, every day. Of course, I'm not going to be there till 12 a.m. Units 6 and 7, they do have exits, emergency exits. Unit 6 has a side exit, a front door exit. Unit 7 has front door and a back door and a side door. Side doors, of course, emergency exit only. The back door coming out of Unit 7, that is only used for employees. And again, employees, 3, us 3 owners, and then 2 employees that we have. That is all. Back parking lot, no employees park back there. 3 spaces allowed. Those are our 3 spaces that we use. I know in one of the photos shown, it shows a big truck that says El Mariachi logo. That is, of course, one of ours. Other 2 cars, normal passenger cars. The other car that is shown in the picture with ladders on top, apartment complex, not ours. So those are, like I said, emergency only, back doors, employees only. That's it. We don't have people coming in and out random times a day. Employees only. They go out, dump out the trash, go back inside. We go on about our day. TVs will going to be inside Unit 7. No, Unit 6, I'm sorry. We'll be inside Unit 6, 2 TVs. I think that is all. The foods, we're going to, delivery trucks were going to be Main Street, like always. Parking for customers, Main Street, public parking. Like I said, no one is allowed in the back. I believe that's all coming from this letter.
Thank you.
Did I hear you say you do not serve any alcohol?
We do not, no.
And no beer and wine?
Nope, no, sir. Just family, restaurant, takeout.
Now, is some of your activities on property that's not owned by you?
No. The two units, Unit 6 and 7, we own. Unit 12, where we are currently at, we lease. But that's ours.
But that's my question. You're leasing from whom?
Unit 12 is leased by Michael Santos.
So it's going to be 6, 7, and Unit 12?
Yes.
Okay.
So fingers crossed, you said about the food truck?
Yes, fingers crossed.
What time in the morning would you be loading that?
I want to say 7, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. So that's out, is that kind of a noisy operation?
No, I mean, we'll be coming in, loading it up, getting it out. I feel like it would be, I don't think it's.
Just kind of normal
not-
in and out traffic
yeah, normal
noise?
in and
Okay.
out
The truck's
talking.
not running during that time, right?
No, it's going to be turned off. There's no need for it to be running.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody from the public wish to speak to this? Yep. Come on right up. Your
Hi,
name?
good morning. I'm Laura Cronin. I live at 402 South Street, which is the abutter. I sent a letter earlier this week about some objections that I have and respectfully ask you to reconsider granting this at this time until some additional work can be done or research can be done. I started this, first of all, I'm sorry, thank you, Chairman or Vice Chairman Newmanheimer and board. I am here to speak against that for the new vicular license, which will be adding all those seats as mentioned in the plan. And they are currently operating out of map 308, parcel 111, building D12, as Ms. Fernandez has said. Below are my concerns for review and consideration. This increase being considered will be adding to the congestion and overcrowding in the back lot. The past years, this area has changed several uses of the complex. In their current operation is already creating overcrowding, parking area, and accessibility in the back parking lot. And with this added food truck service last year. Last year, they did get approved. I did check with the licensing, and they did get approval for that, and that was there more than just a day. It was there for a couple of weeks, and it was sent overnight. It was plugged in, so imagine there must be something that was running with it, but it was there overnight in the back lot before they put in some additional overhangs. My property is right on the outside. I sent a map of the GIS map of 569 and 573 and then 561. The 30 outside seatings proposed, which magnifies the sound. The courtyard is great. I'm glad to see some activity going in there. It's been pretty empty for a while. It's just that I think this whole complex, I'm requesting that it get looked at for the usage and what the variances are allowed for having that many units. Currently, Hyannis Oaks, which I did try to contact the town last year, actually it's now a couple of years ago, when I had a vehicle come through the back of my fence. It kind of touched the fence and then moved forward. I happened to be there at the time. I've witnessed this many times. And the pictures that I did send you, those were examples of the fence being damaged considerably. And I do understand that there are some apartment uses back there as well. But that is where I'm trying to understand is who is Hyannis Oaks. When I contacted the town, when it happened the first time, I was trying to get the name of the property owner of the El Mariacho because I noticed it was their vehicle. It was not the big truck at the time. It was a smaller, one of probably the employee vehicles. And at the time, they gave me the name that was on the property record. When I called that number, there was nobody, they didn't understand what I was saying, or they said they didn't own it. So then I said, okay, I went and asked about the apartments next door, and the town said, well, get me the number, and I will be able to look up. They'd be able to help me. So when I gave them the units next door, they said that entire 569 was kind of all together, but they had all separate owners, and they could not give me a specific person to talk to about addressing that issue. They were not aware of anything else other than the 569. When I went out back to look at that property, I looked at the next map over, which is the one that has all of the apartment complexes, and that had 557 on the map, but the house had a 567 on it, which makes this even more confusing. And when I also looked at Hyannis Oaks, they didn't mention Hyannis Oaks. They said they didn't have any record of Hyannis Oaks at all in the back area, and they couldn't help me out with who I could address with parking at the fence. At the same time, when I was out back there, that's when I noticed the Hyannis Oaks assigned parking spaces. So clearly someone had done that. That's the property that we've had for over 25 years, so we would not have authorized that. When the vet center was there, it was a totally different set of operations. They were there, they took care of, they actually took pride in that back area. They made sure the trash was picked up. They made sure that if they had anybody parking back there, the debris was picked up. They maintained any of the fence, the stuff on the backside, the vegetation, as well as if anything on our house, our trees fell or anything was a problem, we took care of it and we communicated it with them. We were constantly working with them to make sure that that was a nice, safe place for people to both participate in with their vet center as well as in the neighborhood. Up until recently, and I think still recently, about 8 of those units in that courtyard have been empty. There's only the 2 in the front, which El Mariachi was there, and then there's a grilled cheese factory. At the time, it was, I think, a yogurt shop and hot dog. And then the 2 in the front where the vape center is now, and there's another phone repair. And then in my research, I found out that all of those units, as well as the IK juice shop, and now that has, I just reopened, and they have three apartments, 3 units in that building there. So those 3 units with the IK shop, that's 4, with the 12 that are in the Hyannis courtyard, Oaks courtyard, and then 573, which is Perry Lima, now that has 18 units there. In addition, more apartment buildings were approved, which there was not a problem at the time when they expanded the apartment buildings, which I believe is 559, but on the map it says 559, but the town says there's no specific owner for that. It's like a trust that owns the 3 buildings there. And there's apparently 10 units in those buildings. So all in all, we've got quite a bit of congestion going on back there. At the time also, when I inquired to the town, we thought it was a public lot because when the vet center had left at the end of the day, there was very few people that were going in and around there, and it was always either coming in and out, and then there was, before the apartment building expanded, there was a lot of extra spaces there. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it will be empty because the most you're going to have is the truck for El Mariachi, or you will have some people that have their vehicle during the day. But at night, when you try to get in there at the end of the evening, or it's full. It is being taken up with all of us. I don't know if they're assigned. They take their own assigned shop location, but apparently someone has taken responsibility and ownership for that back area. I sent you some pictures, and some of it is, you're right, there's a truck, and I was trying to give it more of a scope of, Mr. Hernandez now just bought 2 of those units, so now they own about over 10% of Hyannis Oaks. So with the rental, it'll be about 16% they have benefit, to make sure that that place stays. It should be a good partner, and it should be a good neighbor, and making sure that Hyannis Oaks does not become a problem. There are other owners. If you look at the property maps, there's a significant number of people who own all those different units, and they're empty. Lot 1 and 2 were just recently sold. I saw that. That was up in the front. That's where the vape shop is, and then there's a cell phone repair shop, I think. But number 12 is where they are now. That was rented, and then they just own 6 and 7. So they are part of the Hyannis Oaks Condominium Association. So they do need to take ownership of the entire area, because it's not a public parking area. And if you look at where some of the other people are parking, it's not just along our fence. It comes all the way down through that alleyway, and trying to understand who has what is the requirement when you have a 10-unit apartment, or you have 18-unit condominium, some of it commercial, some of it retail, and there's only 4 allotted restaurant locations in the Hyannis Oaks. So who takes the ownership if it's not for the people who are buying it and are looking to have licenses there? This is not the same licensing that was there for all those years. This is new. This does add additional congestion. The property is not being maintained in the back. When their trees fall, there's a lot of them that they don't take care of, and when they fall, they're lying down on the ground. I think I sent one picture where there's a large log on the back, which is right abutting our fence. If there was a conscientious tenant, neighbor there, we would make attempts to keep that away from a neighbor's fence. One thing that we used to do, too, working with, when the vet center was there, was that we would periodically look back and forth, and if my vegetation was going over, or if anything was creating any problem of an overhang or anything like that, we would take care of it. And you can see that that's what we do on that side, on the other side of the fence. But that fence is becoming, in the last 5 years, has become so deteriorated that I want to replace it. I really do, because I'm afraid it's going to fall. And I'm afraid that if I put something up, the same thing's going to happen if there's no ownership. So adding more licenses, adding more congestion to those 2 units, that to me could be a problem. And I looked to see if I could catch it before it came this far, but there was nothing that I got notice on. Site plan review did not get notification, but I did get a copy of it. And I saw what their proposal was, but I didn't see anything else where we had the opportunity to even talk about what the issues are, or when you buy into this condominium, how do you fit as part of being ownership of that property? And I probably spoke more than my 3 minutes, but it's getting frustrated, and I think that right now that truck, the big truck, is parked right up against my fence. And what happens is when they pull in, and then they pull out, each time they say, well, they're not touching it, but they are. They're touching it and pulling out. So by the time you go there, look, it's gone, but it's already been, you'll be able to see if you looked at it close up that they're already starting to pull it down. And it's not just their vehicle, it's the other vehicles that are allowed to park there. And now it hasn't moved in like 3 weeks now, so either needs repair, or they have to tow it out, in which case I don't know a safe way that could be towed out without creating a problem. And the variance in the back where there's plenty of space, well, it's really not, because you have to have steps coming out the back, which they do. They were at the vet center. But how do you navigate around when you've got dumpsters down by Perry Lima's, you've got dumpsters down now where El Mariacho is, and you've got dumpsters all the way down around the side where the IK place is and the apartment complex. So I don't know what the variances are or what the allowances are, but it would be something, I'd like to have something looked at before we add any more licenses there. Thank you. Respectfully.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Mrs. Cronin? No? Anybody else wish to speak to this app? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Ms. Cronin?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
No, that's okay. I'm wondering if you know if it's possible that some of the newer tenants in the condo could be parking out back. Would you have any idea about that?
Oh, which condo?
Hyannis Oaks.
Hyannis, so yeah, you said that there were several new tenants.
What I said was there were new in the unit next to mine. I think I might have sent you the layout. Behind me, the 569, you'll see where it's outlined. That's Hyannis Oaks. Okay. It has 561, 569, and 573. Down in that alley to the right is what is on map 557, 559. Those are where the new apartments are.
Okay, but could they be parking out?
I don't know. That's the part I don't know. So when I went to try to find out who had the ladder truck that hit the fence, all I could see was Hyannis Oak parking lot, space 10 or whatever it is out right there. And so that's when I asked the town, well, how do I find out about who Hyannis Oaks is? And she says they don't have that on record. It's a private lot, it's not public. So Hyannis Lot 10 was not in use. So if they're going to be adding they're allowed to have now 3 spots back there. What are the other tenants? If you fill all of them, let's say that it's great, you start filling all of the Hyannis Oaks, businesses, that would be great. Where are they going to park? What's the criteria for being able to add, you add businesses there, or licenses there that aren't in existence right now, or set for that? Those 2 spaces, 6 and 7, are retail commercial, sorry.
Because my difficulty is that if there's no customer parking in back there, and now Ms. Fernandez says she has 2 employee vehicles and this truck, it would be hard to for me, it's hard to think about how many other parking spaces are attributable to her.
Correct. I appreciate that.
I mean, it's just,
But it's clear there's certain vehicles that are there, and that those were that's why I'm just trying to find out who is responsible. And as people are coming up for licenses in that area, that's where I thought my voice could be heard, because it's not getting heard anywhere else. And as she now owns 2 units, she was just a renter before, I get that, on Unit 12. And so, when she had Unit 12, there were multiple vehicles parked there, not just the truck, but there were employee parking. One of her vehicles was back there as well. So I know that it was more than just the 1 spot before now. Now that she owns room 6 and 7, that is where I've got a problem in saying, okay, now what's going to happen? And they're part of that condominium association collectively.
so to help me understand, behind there, is she allotted a certain number of spots according to how many space?
I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
You might.
So,
Each unit has their own parking spot.
So how many collective parking spots do you have?
I have 3,
3.
and I have 3 cars parked.
2 cars and a truck?
Yes. Yep.
So is the truck always there?
No, and it does work. It does not need to be towed. It has been there for a few days, but it's in
Weeks, 3 weeks.
Okay, well, 3 weeks. It's been there for 3 weeks. It does work. It just, we haven't moved it. We don't see the need to move it. It's in our parking spot, so I don't see the problem. But yes, each unit has its own parking. And
Okay.
I have 3 spots. We have 3 cars.
Okay.
Can I just make a comment? If they have 18, just in Hyannis Oaks alone, where are their other 15 spots?
well, some units may not have parking spaces.
But I don't, I
It's
don't know. You're right. I don't know that.
I can't get into great detail about this, but there's obviously a condominium association that runs the units, because there has to be under law. I suggest you find out who's managing that condominium association, and they would be the person to address the use of that lot with. I'm not sure which other town department would be subject to, because it's a private lot, so it's very difficult to control the use of a private lot beyond that. And of course, as I said earlier, our powers are somewhat limited in that our focus is the use and occupancy of certain premises. We can't do all of the parking issues. And so I'm not sure we can address your concern any better than that, but I would find out who runs the condominium association, and perhaps she can help you with that, but it would be on record at the Registry of Deeds as to who does that. So that might be the way to get a cooperative plan going forward for the zone between your property and theirs. Okay. Any other questions? Anybody else wish to speak to this?
And I just want to say, you are heard. It's just, I feel it's a little beyond our purview.
Yeah. I'd like to have the answer. I just don't have it. I think, like I said, I think reaching out to the condominium association and certainly to other departments may assist in management between the two, but it's hard when it's two private properties that are abutting each other for anybody in the town to control that. So
Can I just say one thing? I hear you, but the reason that I thought this was an opportunity was because there's a change in use. This use for those 2 units is not restaurant.
No, I understand that there's a change in use to the units, but again, the use is our focus. We can't be, the whole property isn't our focus because it's a condominium. So that's sort of the limitation we have.
So what is your limitation that you would be approving 30 outdoor seats, 16, another 16 and 12 or 8 other seating? What is your ability to oversee that?
Our ability to oversee the use is whether there would be a violation, so they put, let's say they put 40 tables outside. We can deal with that. What if they play the music at, rock star level volume? We can deal with that. If they don't use the property consistent with the license, we can deal with that. But our license is simply to have non-live entertainment and serve food with a certain amount of tables inside and out.
Does a building permit also required for the renovations?
I would be reluctant to point you to any other town departments that might deal with it because I just don't know who would deal with the parking aspect of it. And again, the nature of the fact is that it's 2 abutting private properties. So the use by a private owner of their own property is very difficult for the town to impede on without getting themselves in trouble. That's the issue.
Chair, if I may, I also hear you, and I will do whatever I can within the boundaries of my position to help you. If there's, if it's a matter of putting you in touch with someone, or like Chair Nauenheimer had said, looking up in the registry of deeds and determining who controls that condo association might be the best first stop. But I'm happy to give you my card. I think you already
Yeah, I
have
have
my-
it. Thank you,
what-
Erin.
please
You've been
use
very
it.
helpful.
Whatever I can offer within the confines of my position, I'm happy to. Okay.
Thank you.
While I have her here, I do have a question myself. If you're in the back parking lot, in the back, and I understand your concern about the fence, but what is your concern about the parking in our section? If it doesn't, how does it affect you?
Because
Besides the fence, I understand that. How else does it
the
affect?
congestion back there, I think when the site plan review was done, there probably wasn't anyone parked out there, or those additions to the back of the building were done. So navigating in and around there is kind of difficult, so you wind up having people park back as far as they can without getting hit by something else going around that corner. I just don't think, I think when the site plan review was done, it wasn't taking all of the factors into consideration.
So there isn't any more parking than there is. So the parking is up against our fence, all the way down. And
Is the parking delineated in the back? Lines on the ground?
No,
Right.
no, because it's like rocks.
It's gravel.
And so, no. So the parking is all the way from the apartment building, all the way down. And then behind Perry Lima, they have their parking, which is common, but they have taken over it. They have put signs up saying that no one can park there except them. But no one else parks anywhere else. So it's either up against the fence, and if there isn't a spot, well, we say, you know what, okay, I'm gonna go park.
Is Perry Lima's space part of the condominium association?
Not really, no.
Yes, it
Unit
is.
D, where we are, is one association.
Right.
They're completely different.
Different association.
Because we have tried to talk with them about the same situation, but it's like talking to the wall.
Yeah. Am I correct that when you go into the driveway at that location, there's a private parking sign on the wall?
The ones that were put up before we got there that say that it's for Hyannis Oaks,
Yeah.
those are up there. But then once you get back to where Perry Lima is, because you have to go through our spot to get to
Yes.
to their back parking, it says no parking, it's only parking for them. And they usually even put signs on cars
Yeah.
that say no one can park there. But it is for Unit D.
Forget it.
Could I just respond to that? It's Perry Lima, Unit 573, Main Street, is part of the Hyannis Oaks Condominium Association, as well as 561, which is where the IK juice shop is, and then in the middle, which is 569, where the 12 units are. So all of those currently are listed as the Hyannis Oaks
Hyannis Oaks
condominium.
Hyannis Oaks Building D, Hyannis Oaks Building something, and then the apartments are about Hyannis Oaks Building C.
All right. Again, our scope is somewhat limited, although we do want to extend some help to the extent we can. So if you see Ms. Logan after, she will assist you and whoever you may contact to address those issues at that time. And with that, I will take a motion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
New common victualler license and daily non-live entertainment license for El Mariachi Loco, DBA El Mariachi Loco, 569 Main Street, Unit 6 and 7, Hyannis, for a new common victualler license with 16 seats in Unit 6, 16 seats in Unit 7, and 30 outdoor patio seats. Daily non-live entertainment for 2 TVs. Proposed hours of operation are 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. I make a motion to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Decker is abstaining. So we really don't have a quorum at that point.
You should do, there's only three voting.
No, but you're not voting.
I know, but there's only 3 eligible to vote on this board.
Yeah, but if
2
you,
have voted.
but if you abstain, the board is 2.
Still a majority.
No, but it's not a quorum.
Well, I'll vote no then.
Okay? The ayes have it.
For the record, 2 ayes and 1 nay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. We have the consent agenda. I think, given the limitations, we probably have to go through each one rather than printed, as we usually do. Does that make sense?
That's fine. That's fine.
All right, so, want to make a motion as to each limited one because of the restrictions?
Sure. I do have some questions. With regard to the consent agenda, the renewal for a special one-day beer and wine entertainment license for Rhonda White on behalf of the Holy Ghost Society of Santuit Cotuit at 53 Main Street, Cotuit, to hold the 127th Annual Portuguese Fest on June 17th, 2023, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Alcohol will be poured by Roxana White, tip certified. Entertainment to include live amplified music and 1 inflatable. I make a motion to accept.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
I do have a question on the next one with regard to the annual vendor market. That's for the Amplify POC Summer Festival. Aaron, the vendor market. They're holding a vendor market,
Yeah, little,
which includes beer and wine.
Yes, so they actually held the same event last year. It is goods and products made by people of color. And they will also have a food and a beverage area that will be contained.
So is there a police officer involved?
There is a requirement from the Barnstable Police that they have 1 police detail. And then the Hyannis Fire Department has requested that if they are going to have more than 2 20-pound propane tanks, that they get a permit through the fire department as well. But no concerns. There were no negative reviews, if you will, from last year's event.
All right. With regard to the consent agenda for the renewal of a special one-day beer and wine and entertainment license for the application filed by Amplify POC, P.O. Box 284 Hyannis, to hold Amplify POC Summer Festival, an annual vendor market to include beer and wine sales, as well as an amplified live band and one inflatable bouncy house. The event is scheduled to take place on the Hyannis Village Green on July 9th, 2023, from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Beer and wine will be poured by the Island Cafe and Grill. I make a motion to accept.
I second.
I would amend that motion to request a police detail, and if two 20-pound gas tanks will be used, a fire permit would be obtained prior to the license being issued.
So moved.
And I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Next. Night at the library.
With regard to the consent agenda for the renewal of special one-day alcohol and entertainment license filed by Mary Ann Colombo of the Osterville Village Library, 43 Wayona Avenue, Osterville, to host a night at the library, which includes live performing arts and alcohol service, to be held on July 16th, 2023, from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Alcohol to be poured by Eric Maricina, who is tip certified on file. I make a motion to accept.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And finally,
The consent agenda item, renewal for a special one-day alcohol license, filed by Marianne Colombo and Osterville Village Library, 43 Wayona Avenue, Osterville, to host a summer celebration, plein air, which includes alcohol service, to be held on July 15th from 2023 from 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Alcohol to be poured by Eric Maricina, who is tip certified. I make a motion to accept.
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Thank you. And that moves us to, yep, we could do that all at once. The seasonal renewals.
With regard to the 2023 season renewals, I make a motion to accept as printed.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll do the approval of the minutes, which I should have done at the beginning, but I always forget to do that.
Chair, those are being tabled to the May 15th meeting.
Good, I didn't forget.
I
All right,
I
now
make
we're
a
gonna,
motion to accept the minutes.
now we're chairing, we're tabling those.
Oh, okay.
All right, and licensing department updates?
Thank you. I believe Larry and Nancy had attended the ABCC training that was given earlier in April. The ABCC was pretty adamant, understandably, that retro approvals on their alcohol special one days should not be happening. So I think just for the record, I wanted to bring it to the board's attention. Staff will not be accepting applications if they are not 30 days prior to. This is a basic requirement of all special licenses, including use of town property. We do require a minimum of 30 days. As much as it hurts, I will have to turn people down if they don't apply in time. And quite frankly, with the special one days, we really need enough time to get them on the agenda. So if it just hasn't been accepted in time, we are not going to accept them. And I completely understand when we're dealing with alcohol, it's a little bit more sensitive than entertainment might be. And I wanted to have the discussion with the board. Do we want to impose this onto entertainment licenses, special one-day entertainment licenses as well, for consistency's sake? Or do we want to do something like this on a case-by-case basis? It's what the board is comfortable with. If, we just cut it at, if you didn't get it in time for the notice, sorry.
I hate to, it seems to me that retroactive approvals are offensive to whatever we do, right? Our job is to vet licensees prior to events. And if we're continuously doing retroactive approvals, we don't have any control over the event at all. So, not that I want to be authoritarian about it. So I think that if we're required to do it for one, we should be required to do it for all. Do we have an easily available list of the people who have requested one-day licenses, whether for entertainment or alcohol in the past, that we can send notices to and say, hey, you know, before you mark your calendar? I think that would be helpful, but I understand the ABCC's position, and that's the position.
And I absolutely agree. I mean, an event, a problem could happen at an event, whether or not it's alcohol related. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, take for example any one of these ones we just did, which is where there were restrictions, and those restrictions never happened. The one outside here is going to have two 20-pound gas tanks, and one of them blows up. We sort of look like idiots. So I think that's one for all. Be consistent. Yes, Mr. Anthony.
I think what this does, this discussion, is it helps staff have the support of the licensing authority when people come in, because Aaron is the front line to the people who come in, and sometimes people get busy. And if we have been allowing of this in the past, there is going to be this adjustment period. And unfortunately, someone will be first who loses out on an opportunity, and there may be some noise that comes back. So I think staff certainly appreciates the clarity from the licensing authority and having the support from you folks so that we can say that we did discuss this in public session and that this is how we're going to move forward. I think that's an excellent idea about trying to get notice out as much as possible, and we can take advantage of the fact that we have a database of people. So even if it's a little bit of a heavy lift in the short run, I think you're spot on as far as making sure the word gets out. So thank you for that clarity.
Well, happy to do it. I'm glad we can make things more consistent.
And I guess with that being said, it has been standard practice since I've come on board not to require attendance for renewal special one days. I figured if we're on the same subject, it would be worthy of a discussion. Again, whether we require all of these folks to come back every year or just the problem cases. Most of the time, they are the same event with maybe a tweak in who the vendor's going to be. And we definitely hear back from the police and the fire department if there is an issue. So I wanted to open up that discussion as well.
I guess I would not require them to come in, provided there hadn't been any indication in staff review that there was a problem to it or need to address it publicly.
Agreed.
Okay.
I will add, though, that the OpenGov permitting system we're using is so great because we're able to get this feedback from the fire department, from the police department, well in advance of the meeting. Restrictions are able to be put on that license. And I think it just creates a great platform for us to be able to go back.
It certainly makes it easier for us to address all the concerns that need to be addressed. Then one other matter, I guess, if you're finished, was voting. I know we were going to wait for some time about that on officers of the authority. So I'll just put it out there that according to the bylaws, we are supposed to annually vote positions on this authority. We have not done that in the time that I've been on this board, so it's considerable. And since we're moving in a more compliant direction, we will take that up. Everybody would consider that. going forward. We have some members who aren't here, so they'll need to think about it. And then at some point, we'll put in a date on which we are going to hold those, that vote.
Correct. So traditionally, that vote takes place in June so that it will be effective the beginning of the next fiscal year. So the the July meeting would be when the officers would then take over, if you will. So
Right.
I will put that in motion for the June meeting.
Okay. And if you would, in advance of that, when you send it out, just tell the members who were not here that they need to consider what that will be and what the positions are that we'll vote on, please.
Confirmed.
I guess I have two questions. One is, where do we go with Marty? In that we certainly owe him a courtesy of letting him know what's going on. But we have no concrete feedback, I assume. And he would also need to know that voting is coming up too. And it would be nice if we had, I know as a fellow that's been on this board that long, you'd hate to sever ties if you didn't have to.
Well, he would still be a member of the board, at least until the appointing authority takes a different approach or renewals come up. But I will take it upon myself to call him to let him know about that event.
Thank you.
Another one, I guess I would ask Aaron if each month you send out a request for a reply, and for a while I certainly was guilty of it because I always assumed that I would be here. But with our newest member, he hasn't been here only one time out of 4 appropriate times, and I'm just wondering how we address that issue. Because sooner or later, 2 of us are going to be out, and we're going to need that third party in.
I think that's a valid concern. And part of my plan in preparing for the June election was to speak with all of you individually. And as it turns out, I had phone calls both with David and Nancy recently, and so it did come up in conversation. I do plan on calling John Flores, Martin Hoxie, and Max Mitro-Costas. I really, as a check-in, how is this working for you? Are you planning on staying with the board? I know that the process when you apply to be on a board, you check off several boards that you might be interested in. The appointments committee interviews you and kind of tries to figure out where you're needed and where your skills will best be at use. And I kind of suspect that our newest member may have accepted and then received another job offer that may not have met, he may not be able to meet the time. So I do plan on kind of having that discussion, because we'd like to have someone who could be here consistently.
It's like,
Currently, there is no vacancy posted.
Correct.
it's like the sorting hat at Hogwarts. Yes, I do know personally that he's taken another job in Bristol County, so it may be rather difficult for him to appear on a Monday morning at this godforsaken time for those kinds of things. It's just not going to fit into his schedule. So I assume we'll be able to move on and do what we can do with the rest of it. Anything else?
Just a reminder that after the licensing authority meeting on May 15th, we will have the annual alcohol compliance meeting for our local licensees. We will have ABCC investigator Benienda will be back. Officer Kelsey and myself will also be here. And it's basically the same presentation, but we're hoping folks will come and hopefully we can arm them with some information so they can run successful businesses this summer. And we get that out of the way before the season opens.
I don't need any training. I know how to drink. Well, good. And
Refreshments at that meeting?
I'm hoping that they all comply and that the summer goes profitably and uneventfully. So with that, I will take a motion.
Motion to adjourn till,
Wait a minute, hold on.
make a motion to adjourn till May 15th.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll